Hey guys, welcome back to Bendy Lone Wolf. This is part 4. We're going to pick up right where we left off, hopping into the lift, going into day 13, and we are going to the lower levels this time. This is not my favorite area. It's okay. It can be quite confusing. As usual, a lot of the places look similar. But we have a few things that are different in this one. So hopefully you've gotten your mallet by now. That's your 4th weapon. It lets you eliminate enemies much faster. Enemies that took 2 hits now, or that took 2 hits now only take 1. Enemies that took 3 hits now only take 2. It's a beast. So in this level, you're going to come across a bunch of dead Boris corpses that are tied to stretchers, and you're going to have to do a little mini puzzle to crack them open. What we're looking for are safe house tapes, and you can also find the ink toy in here, and the ink toy is very random and very difficult to find. You may have to go through these levels several times to find the ink toy. They're only found in the dead Boris corpses, and those are only found in the lower levels. So be sure to open up every single Boris that you find. Again, in these rooms, everything will always be set up the same way. So in these rooms, sometimes you'll have this path that's open near the bacon soup machine and the one dead Boris corpse. Sometimes that wall will be blocked off and the room may appear to be skinnier, and there will be another locker over on that path, and if you go around, circle around, there's always a dead Boris on that side and a locker going back toward where you entered. If it's a wide area there, you'll have a safe box, and if it's skinnier, then you will not have the safe box. Here in this room in particular, when you're going around the big thing in the middle, you will always have a dead Boris on one side, and then around the back side of it you'll have a little mini locker to open. All these rooms are always set up the same way. So if you see a dead Boris in a room and you go into another room that looks just like it, there will be a dead Boris in exactly the same position. Same with the lockers and the mini lockers. Again, everything else is random, such as the weapon crates, and of course the placement of items that you need to complete the level. So a few things. From this point on, you will not be able to upgrade your weapon again until you find the ink toy. You have to have the ink toy as a prerequisite to get the final weapon, which kind of sucks, because even after you find the ink toy, you still have to go looking for the final weapon in the weapon crates, and you have to, well, I don't know if you have to, but I did. You have to manipulate the ink toy in order to even have a chance of finding it. So it doesn't give you a lot of time to use it unless you just want to keep playing through the levels for fun before actually finishing the game, or if you want to, save scum and then continue. So these lower levels, they do look a little bit similar to the studio in a way, but it's a lot larger. At this point, if you have been moving your camera around a lot before, like going through the levels, it's at this point that I would advise you to keep your camera stationary, at least once you figure out the layout of the rooms, because as you can tell, each room is always the same, but it's not always guaranteed what room is attached to each room. So some of these can go on for a really, really long time. Again, keep in mind to keep one item that's required to call the lift as close as possible to the area where you get on the lift. I don't think, I would say, I guess the lower levels are probably my third least favorite level. I don't even know if that's a thing, but it's certainly not my favorite, especially later on and on hard mode. On hard mode, you have a lot more enemies that pop out. There, I was just checking to see if I had already interacted with that Boris. If you walk up to it and the little X prompt does not pop up, then you know you have interacted with it already. I don't think I meant to stop and drink that bacon soup, actually. I think I just accidentally hit the wrong button. So do be careful when you're drinking bacon soup or opening a locker or inspecting a dead Boris. Take just a second to wait before interacting to make sure that there isn't some inky monster that's going to pop out and hit you when you're not prepared. So as you can see, I've already been through this room. I'm just checking to make sure that I have collected everything. So that was a wider room. If you'd have kept going straight, you have a safe box over there. This is the skinnier version of the room, just to let you know. So this room is set up almost exactly the same as the one we were just in. It's just a skinnier version. It has the locker here. Occasionally you'll have a trap right there. It's not always. But as you can see, there's no safe room on this side of the partition that separates this room. There is the same dead Boris here. And if you continue, there's a locker a little further down. So these rooms are almost the same. It's just the skinnier one does not have a safe box, and the wider room does. So there you can see I've got some sparkles on the Boris. That is a safe house tape. And you're gonna need to collect 5 of those in order to progress. Once you find all 5, you will have to also find a key. So figuring you can collect anywhere from 1 to 3 safe house tapes each time you go through a day in the lower levels, that's at least, if you're very lucky, that's at least 3 times that you'll have to go through the lower levels. And that's also not including the ink toy. The ink toy is only found in the dead Borises. So if you're going to go after that trophy for collecting all the weapons, then you'll probably have to go through the lower levels more than 3 times. So just be prepared for that. And here you can see I only have 2 items left in order to finish this day and get to the lift back up to the safe house. But I do want to make sure that I collect everything possible. I don't want to leave any Borises untouched if I can help it, because I want to finish the safe house tapes as quickly as possible. This room, there's always a locker in the corner, but do be careful because there are ink monsters that really like to pop out right there and get you when you least expect it. Looks like we may have finally made it to the end of this particular section of corridor. And this is the first time we get into the lower levels. This one is actually pretty short. Man, they get really long. They get really long. It's like these rooms can potentially connect infinitely with each other. So I guess tie your heart. It seems that we've inspected 2 of the 4 corridors. There's usually 1 or 2 that are pretty small. You can see right there was an ink blob spider. Those guys are pretty tough. If you're going to block them, you have to wait quite a bit because they like to do a 1-2 punch with their front legs and then act like they're going to stop and then hit you with a third one a little offbeat so that you let your guard down. So don't fall for it. Always wait for the 3 hits before trying to smash the ink spider. Most of the time, if you see them running towards you, once they get a couple feet away, you can usually just smash them because they run pretty fast. You don't even have to aim at them, to be honest, because you will automatically turn to face an enemy that's coming for you unless there is a crate or something that you can break. Then it will want to break the crate because you're closer to it. But if you're not, you can just hit the square button and it will automatically turn you to face whatever's coming at you. So you can see we just passed up the final 2 items that we need to exit the level. I just wanted to make sure that I came all the way over here and collected everything that I possibly could before we move on. And as you can see, the path is still not finished, so we still have a little bit of inspecting to go. This room here that has kind of a little pier at the end, it always has a Boris here and it always has a safe box on the back side of the partition. Occasionally on that table in the alcove, you will often have either an item for getting out and going to the lift, or you can also sometimes find slugs there. So here I passed up that final item. It is pretty close to the lift. We should be okay. But if not, we have to pass through a room that has a save box. So we do have that option if the ink demon tries to corner us. Looks like we're going to make it. Ride the lift back up to the safe house and drop off your supplies inside of the crate. Don't forget to save when you come back up into the safe house, just in case. We have 56 slugs accumulated. I am just going to keep collecting them. I want to have over 100 before I go for the Fuzzy Friends trophy. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. We'll just go back into the lower levels and try to collect more safe house tapes. We're now at day 14. And you can see that the elevator button is on that table in the main hub area. So this will be the last time that we fully go through this level, just to help you get a lay of the land. And you can see when I walked over to try to open up that locker, that ink person jumped out to try to get me when I was unaware. So I quickly had to back out of the locker and take care of him. So as we did in the last video and maybe part 2 as well, once we finish the level that gives us the elevator button to the next floor, we're just gonna, I'll show you where I collected items. And I know it's not super helpful for you because everything is RNG, but it just shows you that I am completing this along with you and not forcing you to sit through the entire video yet again. As you're playing through, you should have a pretty good idea of the layout of each level and the rooms inside of each level as you play it more and more. And being able to see it before you actually go and do it yourself. Oh look, there's a spider guy following me. They do silently creep behind you, just waiting for you to stop so they can strike you from behind. So yeah, being able to see it before you actually do it can help to train your memory a little bit better. So things will look a little more familiar when you actually play through it yourself. So you can see we did find another safe house tape. Good for us. I think we have 3 at this point. So we have 2 left to go. And, you know, as far as ink enemies, I think the ones that we're seeing now are pretty much all the different ones that we are going to see. So you have the searchers that have no legs and crawl. You have the humanoid ones that run at you with usually a pipe or something in their hand. You have the flying bat blobs. You have the crawling spider blobs. You have all 3 members of the butcher gang, which you do want to take those out at every opportunity so that you can make sure and get all 25 of them taken care of before you end the game. But there is another enemy that we're going to meet a little bit later. It's not an ink enemy, it's a mechanical enemy, but that should be the last one that we run into. So this hallway here always has 2 dead Boris corpses in it. It also really likes to pop out lurkers, or to have the humanoid guys running toward you when you go to pop open the corpse. So do be careful of that. And really don't get frustrated with the Borises, honestly, because I found myself getting frustrated and a little bored because this game can be very repetitive. And it does get frustrating. If you're not used to playing a game like this, it can get super frustrating. So if you really want to get that platinum, just be patient. The only item in the entire game that is very, very frustratingly hard to find is the ink toy. All of the others really aren't that bad, even though they're random and you're not promised to get them at any particular time. They're really not bad. So don't let yourself get super frustrated. I'm typically used to, this is more, I look at this as more of a palate cleanser game for me. So I'm just coming off of Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, and that game was pretty tough. It was really tough, honestly. It took a lot out of me. It was a lot of work to put the guide together, and the game itself was just it was a difficult one. So coming off of that into something like Lone Wolf, this is a palate cleanser for me. It's not super fast paced. There's not a lot of complicated upgrading systems, or it's not, obviously not a Souls-like. It's more of a kind of chill search and occasionally run away, you know. And Bendy always was kind of that chill franchise for me. It's just the right amount of unsettling. It's not really scary or creepy, but it's unsettling. So just try to enjoy it for what it is my best suggestion. And I'm saying all this because I found in the lower levels in particular, I found myself not even wanting to play. Like I had to take a full day break and just not play because I found myself not wanting to anymore. And I think, honestly, I think it was the repetition more than anything and the frustration of not finding what I needed to be able to move on from this level in particular. So I'm just giving you words of caution because I don't want the same thing to happen to you. Have faith that you will find what it is that you're looking for because you definitely will. It just might take a little bit of time. And each time you go through these levels, you get a little bit better at the game as a whole. So there are still things that you can learn from, having to replay the same level 10 times. So anyway, it's enough preaching, I guess. We're now, it looks, well, this is the last area that I haven't gone to that I don't have a gent stick in front of. And I think that I actually have gone through here, but I think I came into this area from a different area. So there's a huge possibility that I left something behind. So here I obviously missed that locker, but I obviously didn't come in through there. Maybe that was the area that I didn't go to. Maybe I need to go to the right because this locker's open. There's a dead ink monster on the floor. So I've obviously been through here before. And this is what I mean about not turning the camera, because even watching this after I've already played it, just watching and commentating, I'm confusing myself. It can be difficult to keep your bearings when you move the camera too much. Unfortunately, I didn't really learn that lesson until I had to play on hard, because I was able to make do on normal. Once I got into hard, it's a pretty different ball game. So in some ways, I wish I would have just started playing on hard instead of going through normal first. And you absolutely can do that if you like. But I figured there are so many things that you have to do to get trophies that it would probably be easier to just gather up all the trophies and just save beating the game on hard for last. So that way I didn't have to worry about finding absolutely everything. Unfortunately, you still have to beat the main story, so you still have to get all of the question boxes. So it was really just a few things that I didn't have to do. Like, I don't have to replay the crane game. I don't have to find the ink toy. And I think that's pretty much it. Everything else I still have to do on hard. But when you go into it and you don't really know what to expect right away, sometimes it you learn about stuff a little bit too late. But don't worry, I'm not going to make you guys suffer through hard mode. I won't, because I'm basically doing the exact same thing as I am here. It's just that the game is harder. So it looks like I have 2 items left to collect. Now 1, and if I remember correctly, when we come out of here, I think that item is going to be to the left. Like when we go up into the room where the lift is, I think we go over to the left, and it should be right in the front. Of course, the ink demon is lurking nearby. He always seems to be close by when you get near the end. Fortunately, this is a pretty large place, so he can get stuck in a lot of places that are pretty far. You can also stand there and wait a second. If you're afraid the ink demon might be faster than you getting to the lift, you can wait a couple of seconds before picking it up and running to the lift. So back in the safe house, drop off your supplies. And we're going to go take a look at our safe house tapes. You can see that we have 4 out of 5 of them.
Recording this, but I don't know what else to do. Please, whoever you may be, I need your help. My name is... My father was a butcher. Rest his soul. My mother and I had only each other while I was growing up. I don't know how much longer I can stay alive. I like to pretend someone is coming. I am not one to lie. I don't like when people lie to me. My mother always told me, honesty, Milla. Always honesty. Be bright and smart.
So you can tell from listening to those 4 tapes that this sounds a little bit too fishy. No one is that sweet and innocent all the time. So just, have that thought lurking around in your head. Here, I'm just checking the music. You can see that one dance that we have. We won't get any more songs or dances until we get to the music department, which we will go and do after we fully complete the lower levels. Now, I don't remember if I go into the lower levels, if I do everything here, or if I wait and save the ink toy for later, going search for that. But you'll have to do the lower levels until you find all 5 safe house tapes and the key to the door and the ink toy. So here, since we already have the elevator button, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to where I find relevant items on day 15, which is the day we're on right now. You can see the ink monster always tries to jump up right when you're getting ready to interact with something. There I found a safe house tape. That's the 5th one. Here I am running for the lift. I picked up the final item and I'm running for the lift, so you don't have to sit through that entire level. So with day 15 behind us, we'll get back up to the safe house, drop off our supplies, and we can go and listen to the 5th safe house tape. And from that point, you'll see that if you walk up to the door, you can't open it without a key. So we'll have to go back and find that key.
There isn't much time. If you found my messages...
So let's make our way back over to the lift. Of course, make a save if you wish. I highly recommend it, especially if you're save scumming. You should be saving and scumming between every day. Let's get back in the lift and we'll head back down to the lower levels. Now, we won't find any more safe house tapes inside of the Boruses. At this point, you can only find the key and the ink toy. And I do find it with the ink toy, you have the most luck finding it on day 1. If you don't find it on day 1, or if you find it and then you die and restart, it can take days for you to find it again. So I've skipped ahead. I'm showing here that I go up to this Borus and we find the safe house key. And as I am coming through here, I'm going to pick up the final item and make a run for the lift. This is going to complete day number 16. And even though we did not find the ink toy, that's okay because we now have everything that we need to open up the door. I do recommend you save before going through the door because the safe house tapes, even though they talk a lot about honesty, they're a big fat lie. And when you open up the door, you'll see who our next boss battle is.
Boris found the poor soul who was trapped in the darkness. But Milla was a lie. She was in truth a twisted angel named Alice, luring Boris to his doom. So Boris ran.
So as you can see, we now have to hide from Alice. And this is going to be just like the projectionist boss, except it happens in the lower levels. Alice is Not as fast as the projectionist, but she does seem to be a bit faster than the ink demon. And you will hear her humming. That's how you know she's coming. So we don't get any special kind of projection light or anything like that. And we don't get the very loud stomping and the camera shaking. You'll want to keep an eye out in the corners of your screen when you're exiting from one area to the next, because you'll sometimes see her halo. So just like the ink demon is surrounded by darkness, Alice is surrounded by a halo of light. So if you see a ring of light coming towards you, you need to go in the other direction before she sees you. And you'll know she's nearby if you hear her humming or singing. So just as usual, go through the level, open everything up, open up every Boris, because there is a chance that you could find the ink toy here. You can see Alice spotted us and you can see how she runs. She's pretty quick and she's constantly clawing at you as she runs. I went ahead and skipped out waiting for her to leave. She always says something snarky when you go and hide from her. She'll, go look at where you went into the safe box, say something snarky, and then slowly walk away. Just keep on trucking through the level and try to find everything that you possibly can and cross your fingers and hope you get that ink toy. I'm going to do some skipping ahead here so that we don't have to go through the entire level. I just did want to make sure that you saw actually what happens when Alice spots you. So you got to see her chasing you and, how fast she runs and what her halo looks like so that you can be aware of it. For right now, we've already been through this level fully twice. And we're just going to skip through at this point because it can get to be a bit much. And if you're playing along as you're watching this, then you know exactly what I mean. So we're going to go and find the final item. And you do not have to run to the lift. You just grab it and you're automatically teleported back to the safe house.
The queen of the dark puddles would not so easily be eluded. But another hunter seized its moment to strike. Boris ran for his life, leaving the angel to her unfortunate fate.
Once the cutscene is over, you will earn the Sad Lies trophy, and that is for escaping the monster of the lower levels. She got caught by the projectionist. So once you're done, go ahead and save. You can check out your board and see that Alice is now defeated. And we're going to get into what to do next on part 5. So thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe and join me back here for part 5. Until then, Khajiit always has swears.